This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on sportstalksc.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk here on a beautiful Thursday afternoon in the Palmetto State. Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel all together. Another busy show. A lot of baseball, and why not? A lot of baseball tonight. We've got an interview with Monty Lee that we conducted this afternoon. He dropped the news on us that Matt Clark, one of his best pitchers and key coming out of the bullpen, will not be with the Tigers this weekend and probably not next weekend. He does have a back issue, but that's not the reason. He is beginning physical therapy grad school, and he's got classes that he must attend this weekend and probably next weekend. And so he won't be with Clemson for their series at Florida State. So, you know, that doesn't help things when you're talking about a TBA on Thursday for them. They're going to have, on Sunday for them. They'll have to see how their pitching is used up tomorrow and Saturday before they determine what happens on Sunday. We'll hear from him and Mark Kingston. No, we promised you that last night. We'll bring it to you tonight. It's still good. He previews the series with Kentucky this weekend, talks about his pitching. They've changed things up again for the weekend pitching rotation at South Carolina. Bring that to you as well. Also, Preston McDonald, one of our good coaching buddies here on Sports Talk from Florence, Darlington Tech. And what a year they've had. You've heard them on Sports Talk before. You'll hear them again tonight at 7:30 live because they host the regional this weekend. And the winner of this regional is just two teams, them and a school out of New York, Monroe Tech, I guess it is. They are going to face off, and the winner goes to the Junior College World Series. So that's quite a big weekend for those guys at Flodar, Chris, and looking forward to having him on with us.
Excuse me, Phil, had my mic on mute. You would think all these years I'd learned how this process works, but nonetheless, it's going to be a big weekend for Florence Darlington Tech, and we don't hear much about Monroe College, partly because they're, as you pointed out, from New York. I look back through some of their things from the past couple of years. This is a team that is not unfamiliar with postseason play and even advancing to the Junior College World Series. Normally, when the Southern teams in baseball get an opportunity to play somebody from up north, you think, all right, we've got the advantage down here. This may not necessarily be the case. It's a team that hits about 350 as a squad, and they've hit 58 home runs this season. So much like Preston's team, which can bomb the baseball themselves, this may be two or three very high-scoring games over at Daly Field this weekend.
Well, I'm putting you on warning because I'm in the final stages of a little head cold here and post-nasal drip, drainage, and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to gross people out. But you know what happens when you've got that? All of a sudden, the throat starts to act up and you can't form a word, and so be prepared to jump in at any time. Just look at me. When I start perspiring heavily, you know that I'm fighting it, and it'll be time for you to jump in. All right, so looking forward to having him with us tonight. And, of course, a visit from Mike Morgan. Morgan on the Move. We'll talk a lot of college baseball, and we'll talk some Braves baseball as well. And the Braves in action today, and not a good day for them because they lose Acuna to an injury, right? He got hurt running to first base on a play, and they lose to Toronto 8-4. And so they end up, I think they got swept in this series, didn't they? Didn't the Blue Jays come in and win all three?
Toronto has actually won all 6 games in this season series with the Braves, and the Braves bullpen was terrible today. They actually had the lead going into the 8th inning, gave up a run in the 8th, and then 4 in the 9th to blow it. But not only Acuna gets hurt trying to beat out a play on the infield at first base where he took an awkward step into the bag, they also lost Christian Pache to an injury earlier in the game. So it was just a bad day all the way around for Atlanta.
Well, here's a report from Atlanta reporters on Acuna, and he landed awkwardly, as you said. hopped into the outfield grass, fell to the ground in great discomfort. After being briefly evaluated, he stood, shook his left leg, walked to the dugout without assistance, and X-rays on him were negative, according to this story. So that's the good news for the Braves. We'll talk more about the Braves tonight with Mike. He's in Atlanta. He's, of course, in touch with the Braves, and he'll have more to say about all this. A negative X-ray ended up being one of the day's few positives, is what Mark Bowman of MLB.com writes about the Braves. So, a hold your breath moment for Atlanta. You lose the game, but you don't lose your star, and so that's a good thing. And there was other
one
major
thing
league.
about them. Excuse me, Phil. One thing about the Braves, and then we'll move on. They have now dropped 4 games back of the Mets in the East. They're 3 games below 500. I know the season's really, really long. You're probably way too early to panic. But as we approach the middle of May on into June, Braves need to start playing a little bit better baseball. I don't think they'll play their way out of the division because it's the Mets and Phillies in the East. You never know. But 4 games back this early in the season, not really a good start for Atlanta for sure.
No, not what they expected either. They didn't expect to be in this kind of situation, but still a lot of baseball to be played. I was going to say other baseball this afternoon. You've got the White Sox beating the Twins 4-2, the Cardinals over the Brewers 2-0, Tigers beat the Royals 4-3, Nationals down the Phillies 5-1, and as I mentioned, the Braves lose to the Blue Jays 8-4. That's your afternoon baseball. And we should be, I think you saw a tweet this afternoon from Kendall Rogers about the announcement related to the 20 teams for the regionals, and that's coming out when?
The NCAA has actually had that puff of smoke, Phil. We get the white smoke from Indianapolis, and we'll find out tomorrow. The 20 possible regional sites, according to Kendall Rogers of a D1 Baseball, is supposed to come out tomorrow.
Yeah.
The most closely guarded secret in all of college baseball is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. They just said sometime this week.
The most overplayed secret in all of college baseball. I would expect probably, again, they're doing 20, but only 16 will get chosen. I mean, I would expect South Carolina to still be on the 20 list. But the way things are going right now, and considering the 6 teams ahead of them in the SEC, all are reasonable host possibilities. And I doubt the SEC is going to get more than 6, maybe no more than 5 if they really want to try to spread it around. Who knows what the committee's thinking, but certainly no more than 6. And I think that leaves South Carolina on the outside looking in, unless they just made some unbelievable bid, which, I mean, I don't know how you can, considering you're losing millions of dollars from this COVID year. I'm not sure you could just blow their doors off with this huge bid. So we'll find out tomorrow on that. And but I got a feeling the teams in South Carolina who make the tournament are all going to be hitting the road for that regional. And look, I mean, South Carolina certainly looks like at this point in time a pretty solid lock for making the NCAA tournament, though anything can happen. Look, they're going to go play a Kentucky team this weekend that is, right about where they are in the league, just behind them. And they are a better hitting team than South Carolina is by a good margin. I mean, the Gamecocks are next to last in the SEC in conference games in offense, in batting average, like 217, I think it is now. They're down 2 in league games. That's terrible. I mean, if their pitching wasn't what it was, they would really be in bad shape from that standpoint. The pitching is keeping them in there. Kentucky doesn't have the pitching numbers that South Carolina has, but they do hit with power, and they do run a lot. They have only been caught stealing twice, I believe, this year, like 61 out of 63, something crazy like that. And they play pretty good defense. So, except for their pitching's not the greatest in the world, and that maybe South Carolina's bats can come to life here. But my point is, you gotta go win this series at Kentucky, even though it's on the road. You got to go beat those guys, and then you get Tennessee, an outstanding Tennessee team, at home for 3. Let's just say worst case scenario. Let's say the Gamecocks go 2-4 in these last 6 games. Then all of a sudden, I mean, right now they're the number 7 seed for the SEC tournament, which puts them in the play-in game of the SEC, the play-in round of the SEC tournament on Tuesday, playing in the 2:00 game out in Hoover on that Tuesday. And if you lose that game, you're done. It's a it's a loser go home, winner advance sort of deal. I mean, they could paint themselves into a bit of a pickle here. they can't take anything for granted at this point. And conversely, I mean, I think Clemson, even though they're being projected in right now, they still got to win some ball games. They're going to go play a Florida State team, which is ahead of them in the ACC, a Florida State team that is not a very good offensive team. Believe it or not, this is a Florida State team that's one of the worst hitting teams in terms of average in the ACC. Yet they do hit for some power, but their pitching is the best statistically in the ACC. So, Clemson's bats are going to be perhaps challenged by the arms of Florida State. And then again, maybe Clemson's pitching can have a good weekend against a Florida State team that doesn't hit for a great average. And the point is, I think Clemson has certainly got to win this series at Florida State. They can't afford to go down there and get swept again like they did at Georgia Tech last weekend.
Be really hard, I think, if Clemson falls around the 500 marker, perhaps even below 500, Phil, going into the ACC tournament, to consider them anywhere close to an NCAA tournament team unless they went on to win everything in Charlotte, which certainly is not out of the realm of possibility. But I agree with you. They need to play some good baseball here this weekend down in Tallahassee. Back to the Gamecocks, though, I'm really curious. I think tomorrow we're going to find out just how stringent the NCAA and the selection committee is going to weigh the RPI. Because if the RPI is the be-all, end-all, then South Carolina is a host site, right?
Well, except for 6 other SEC teams are ahead of them in the RPI, and you're not going to get 7. You're not going to get 7 in the hosts role from the league.
I don't believe they'll be one of the 20. I'm actually
you don't think they'll be on the
disagree.
20?
No, I don't. I don't think they're going to. I think they have blown that opportunity here the last 2 weeks. I mean, they lost 5 of 6 in SEC play. Normally, we hear this all the time during basketball season. You want to be playing your best going into the tournament. South Carolina, unfortunately, not all their fault. They just had to run into a murderer's row on the schedule. But nonetheless, you've got to win some of these ball games. We kind of joked that they actually moved up in the RPI after losing 2 out of 3 to Mississippi State, which made no sense to me whatsoever. I understand playing tough teams, but you should be rewarded by winning against tough teams, not necessarily just playing them. But nonetheless, I don't think, because of what you just pointed out with the depth of the SEC and teams in front of them in the RPI, I can't imagine South Carolina is one of the 20 tomorrow, but I guess we'll find out.
Any idea what time that's coming out?
I don't. That I do not know. My assumption would be around noon, 1 o'clock, so everybody would know before they start their conference weekend.
All right. Phone number here on Sports Talk. Your thoughts on what we've been talking about, the Braves, college baseball, anything else you want to bring up? Bob Caslen situation at South Carolina, the university president. As we find out today, I mean, nothing ever amazes me over there off of between Blossom and Taylor Street. Now we find out that there is no president as of today at the University of South Carolina. There is no interim president. Remember the announcement yesterday, they said it was going to be Pastides as the interim president. He won't become the interim president until the board meets. I think it's on the 21st, a week from tomorrow. So Caslen's resignation is effective today. So that means from now until a week from Friday, they don't have a president. No interim president, no nothing. So, I mean, Chris, you want to be president at the University of South Carolina?
I don't want to do anything with that mess right now, but shouldn't this qualify under emergency protocol for the Board of Trustees? Shouldn't they meet?
I will voluntarily be the president, and the first thing I'm doing, you know what I'm doing? I'm taking the "of" out of the acronym. It's USC. I hope the new president looks at that and goes, "Are you kidding me?" We'll be right back.
Enjoy life to the fullest with tasty peanuts that pack a lot of flavor. When it comes to eating peanuts, the research is clear. Peanuts improve your health. Peanuts, a snack that gives back. Crack some open today for a nutritious, sustainable, and earth-friendly treat. Be sure to stop by your local grocery store produce section to pick up a bag of roasted in-shell peanuts. Brought to you by the South Carolina Peanut Board. Visit aboutpeanuts.com for delicious peanut-based recipes.
The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Play or practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit maincourse.sc.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
Hey, folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history. And with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo, 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network. There are many things to like about the Carolinas, and one of those is Founders Federal Credit Union Founders Online. The Founders app and using your Founders cards and digital wallets are just some of the perks you'll have at your fingertips. And with over 30 locations, we're always close. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com or visit one of our office locations to see if you qualify for membership with Founders. Relax with Founders. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsibly.sc.com.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
All right, Thursday edition of Sports Talk. We got time for your calls. 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery. Lucky number. Hey, Chris, did you know that since 2002, more than $160 million in lottery proceeds have been used to fund SC Hope scholarships for the state's college-bound students? Well, you and others can learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at sceducationlottery.com/education wins. And playing for fun is a win for education. Speaking of education and playing and winning for fun, the fun is in the winning, you know. And indeed. I saw where an educator in Richland County, this was in the, I guess, the state paper. You know, the state of South Carolina does not require you to identify lottery winners. And a teacher, I guess it's a teacher, I just said an educator in Richland County won $2 million in a lottery on a ticket with the Powerball. And she's like, I think she was quoted, I think it's a she, could be a he. This person was quoted as saying like, yep, I'm done teaching.
I can't blame them.
I am done. So congratulations. And the point is, we love the lottery, and it's a lot of fun. Play it for fun. I love to scratch off a ticket here and there. I love to buy a ticket every now and then and check the numbers. Play it for fun. But you'll never win. It's like that putt. It's like that 10-foot putt. You got to get in the hole for par. Mm-hmm. You're not going to make that putt if you don't get it to the hole. You're not going to win the lottery unless you play the lottery. So, hey, a buck here, a buck there. If you got it, who knows? You might get lucky one day. Check it out, South Carolina Education Lottery. And our lucky number, phone number, from the lotteries. 888-898-2525 if you want to reach us here on Sports Talk. Few other major notes of the day to share with you on this Thursday. Let's go over a few things of importance and catch up on a few things. So the rotation for South Carolina, I think you mentioned this yesterday, Chris. Brandon Jordan on Friday, Brett Carey on Saturday, and Thomas Farr on Sunday. So, I mean, it's a little late in the season to be shifting things around and I don't know, still trying to find that right, excuse me, combination on the weekend, but they continue to try to find that combination.
Well, you've got to give Mark Kingston and his staff a lot of credit for at least trying different things. They're not so stubborn that they realize, hey, this is who we set up in terms of our rotation. They're going to pitch every weekend throughout SEC play, come heck or high water, regardless of whether we're winning or losing. So I give them some credit for changing. But as I think Mike Morgan pointed this out last week when we asked him about would you change the rotation going into Mississippi State, he said that'd be fine, but that does not solve the biggest problem. And the biggest problem right now for South Carolina remains, as you pointed out a few minutes ago, Phil, their lack of hitting. It really doesn't. Now, Brandon Jordan and Thomas Farr both did not pitch overly well last weekend against Mississippi State. I think they'd be the first to tell you. But when you don't score runs, it doesn't matter if you have Nolan Ryan out there on the mound. Last time I checked, you've still got to score to win ball games. And South Carolina's offense is a much, much greater concern in my mind than the pitching rotation. But getting Brett Carey a chance to pitch, Mark Kingston pointed out this in his press conference yesterday. We'll hear a little bit later on. He said he had done enough. They felt like he deserved a chance. So he's going to get his first start. And here late, when he's gotten opportunities, Carey's been pretty good.
Yeah, he has. So Kentucky will go with a right-hander, Cole Stupp, 4-4, 4.31. And then a right-hander, Sean Harney, 3-0, 3.72. And they TBA on Sunday. If I'm not mistaken, this will be the third different weekend combination for South Carolina in SEC play. If you go back to when Bosnick was one of your weekend starters. Now, Jordan and Farr have been the constants. They've just been moved around in terms of where they start now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bosnick was, and then Sanders was, and now they're going to try Carey. The one thing that does do, of course, if you stick with this, it takes Carey out of the bullpen to help you win Friday night or win on Saturday if you hold him out to just for Sunday. But they're thinking, I guess, that Sanders can go into the bullpen and kind of fill that role that Carey had for them.
That's exactly what they're hoping. And even going back, we've seen that work for them. You go back to the two Clemson games back in late February. Sanders got the wins in both of those ball games coming out of the bullpen. So Mark Kingston's hoping that moving him back would, I guess, re-energize him into the bullpen and putting Brett Carey, give him an opportunity at the starting pitcher's role. But you're right. Once you announce that Brett Carey is going to be in the rotation, that does take him out of the back into that bullpen for the Gamecocks.
And Clemson, we told you about Matt Clark's situation. So Clemson will have Anglin on Friday against left-hander Bryce Hubbard. And Saturday, left-hander Keyshawn Askew against Connor Grady. Both teams are TBA on Sunday. ESPN has renewed its MLB deal through 2028. This from the Sports Business Journal. They will keep exclusive rights to Sunday Night Baseball, but ESPN is walking away from its weekday schedule with MLB. This is according to sources, said the 7-year deal is worth around $560 million per year. Again, this is from the Sports Business Journal. So
for one game a week, am I hearing you correct?
That's what it says here. It's walking away, going to keep Sunday Night Baseball, but walking away from the weekday schedule where games ran side by side with local telecasts. Of course, this is less money, the $550 million per year. That's down from whatever it is currently. I can't read the whole story because you have to be a subscriber, even though it said a free story. I can't read the rest of it right now. But whatever they were paying, this obviously is a reduced amount. So ESPN trying to cut it as, cut the expenses. Kenny Mayne is gone. That, a few $1 million. And now I don't know how many million they're saving here with baseball. Of course, now, you wonder, will Fox step up and pick up a daily package with Major League Baseball, or will you just depend on the MLB.com to watch your daily baseball?
I think it's going to be really hard for any of the networks to pick up weeknight baseball games, Phil, because you know how much they rely on American Idol and all those other reality shows that are on, and CBS certainly isn't going to do it with all the NCIS dramas they have. So I don't think anybody's going to take up the slack outside of MLB Network.
Speaking of American Idol, I see where the young man from Dorman High School has dropped out of the competition. You see about that? Yeah, something happened back in his life many years ago. We'll be back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool overnight with a low dipping down to 46. Tomorrow, more of the same what we had today. Sunshine, a bit warmer, a high of 74. The weekend looks great, too. Saturday, we get 77 as our high with a mix of sun and clouds. While on Sunday, back up to 80 degrees, more sunshine than clouds. I'm Kevin Cohn with your On Point local weather.
What can I possibly do to make this stressful time a little better? Here's one thing I found. It's a small thing, a simple thing, a remarkable thing. Smile. You can share a smile from more than 6 feet apart. You can share it socially with the whole world. In fact, right now, I'm smiling at you, and I hope you're smiling back, because smiling is in you. From PassItOn.com.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Police Department in Washington, D.C. suffering a massive leak of internal information after refusing to meet the blackmail demands of a Russian-speaking ransomware syndicate. Experts say it is the worst-known ransomware attack to ever hit a U.S. police department. The gang released thousands of the department's sensitive documents on the dark web. The pumps remain shrouded by plastic bags, at least at a lot of gas stations in the South. But a pipeline company reporting substantial progress in restarting the line. Colonial Pipeline says the gas is flowing again. In the meantime, President Biden warning gas stations not to engage in any price gouging. Israel is mobilizing 9,000 more reservists to help fighting against Hamas, and Israel's military spokesman says forces are massing at the border with the Gaza Strip. This is SRN News.
Spring is more than pollen season. It also means it's termite season. Palmetto Exterminators offers a free inspection at your home to determine any possible issues. Palmetto Exterminators offers the best termite agreement anywhere, but they do so much more. They offer complete pest control, mosquito control, wildlife trapping and removal, and nobody, I mean nobody, can offer you more peace of mind at your home or business. Now, how do I know that? Well, I never tell you to use someone like Palmetto Exterminators unless I practice what I preach. Now, I've been a customer for 19 years, and they are wonderful. My guy, Ron Byers, and his team over at Palmetto Exterminators, they've looked after my family forever. We have no pest control issues whatsoever. But if we did, all it takes is one phone call, and Palmetto Exterminators will fix it. It's pretty simple. Call Palmetto Exterminators and cross pest control right off your list of concerns. Online, it's palmettoexterminators.net, or give my guy Ron a call, 254-5833.
Now is the time to build your business. Tune in on Mondays at 9 a.m. for The Brainstorm with Matt and Mike, founders of Splash Omni Media. We work with hundreds of business owners and will have the answers you're looking for. Mondays at 9 a.m. The Brainstorm with Matt and Mike.
Hey, I'm State Representative Chris Wooten.
And I'm State Representative Micah Cassidy.
Join us on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. on The Rep.
We'll talk about everything that's happening in the State House and give you an insider's perspective.
All from the General Assembly. So join us at 9 a.m. on The Point, 100.7 FM or 1470 AM.
Hi, this is Marcia Clayman.
And I'm Karen Pickard. We're your hosts for the Positive Point on Aging.
We'll talk about aging gracefully and senior care every Tuesday morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock a.m.
Join us right here on The Point for the Positive Point on Aging.
Brought to you by Oakley Village of Lexington.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Hello, Midlands. It's Jay here with The Melting Pot. Here's a few questions we get when people call us. Do we serve only chocolate? No, we serve 4 courses, but you can get just chocolate or 4 courses of chocolate. No, you don't have to sit at a big table with strangers around you, but you can sit at a big table with friends around you. You just need to bring the friends with you. We also specialize in having lots of private booths with real walls between them, so you won't feel like a fish in a plexiglass tank. Come and see us at the Melting Pot, 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard.
Hit it. Go ahead and press it already. Press the damn button. What are you waiting for?
Now, I was only bringing the kid up from American Idol because he's a South Carolina boy from Spartanburg, from Dorman High School, and he's a heck of a performer. I don't watch American Idol very much, but I just saw today where he had to drop out because of a video from when he was 12 years old with some friends, and they had been watching a scary movie or something, and they dressed up like the people in the movie, and some people took the way they were dressed. A couple of the kids, not him, apparently were dressed in white sheets or something because it was like ghosts or something in the movie, and some people took that and turned it into the KKK and got all over him on social media. And I guess American Idol, the producers there, made him leave the event, made him leave the competition. So I don't know. I hate it for the kid because, I mean, it's great to have somebody from South Carolina, from Dorman, to be that talented, to do so well, to be in like what, the final 5 or 4 that he was in. He looks like a linebacker. I'm surprised Coach Gutshaw hadn't signed him up to play linebacker for the Cavaliers. So anyway, that's how we got off on that. And a few other major stories to tell you today. If you want to join us, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Clemson's lost another basketball player, forward Lynn Kidd, who was a freshman this year. He's entered the transfer portal, John. Another departure from Brad Brownell's program after they just picked up a nice forward. This was a young man, didn't play much last season, but when he did, he showed some signs of being able to rebound and block shots. I know that's what they kind of liked about him as they hope to develop him. So that opens up another spot on the roster. I think that puts him back at like 11 scholarship players. So the turnover continues. Turnover continues there with the transfers going and the transfers coming. Meantime, Clemson announced today, this is great news if you keep up with Clemson golf, and not a surprise and totally deserved, that Jordan Bird be the next head coach of the Clemson men's golf program. He replaces, of course, the retiring Larry Penley once the Tigers are finished with their run in the NCAA tournament. 17-year collegiate coaching veteran. He'll be the 8th men's head golf coach at Clemson. 38 years for Larry Penley, retiring after the NCAA tournament. Bird has spent all 17 of his years at Clemson as an assistant with Penley. And of course, they've had great success. So this will make for a nice, smooth transition in Clemson golf, and will probably keep them on a winning track up there, Chris.
Chad Holbrook all over, isn't it? A longtime assistant, deserved the opportunity. And I had forgotten that Bird name is so synonymous with Clemson golf. I had forgotten he's actually a Furman grad, where Jordan played his college career, ended up winning the Southern Conference Championship as a junior. But ever since, he has been a part of that Clemson powerhouse. And when you're able to recruit and bring guys in the caliber that he has brought in over the years, Sam Saunders and Kyle Stanley and Ben Martin, all those guys, he's a pretty good assistant and evidently recognized as one of the top golf assistants around the country. So I don't think Clemson could have made a better choice.
You know what Furman people say about where they are in conjunction with South Carolina and Clemson, don't you?
I do. A rose between two thorns.
Yes. So you've seen
our good
that
friend
as well.
Our good friend Monty Dutton, who's a Furman grad, has told me that many, many times.
A rose between two thorns. You're exactly right. A couple of other things. A freshman pitcher, Sam Swigert, is transferring out of USC. Took a red shirt this season, so don't know much about him. Hadn't heard much about him. Clemson softball team defeated Georgia Tech today 2-0 at the ACC tournament. Oh, Rusty Atkins, the only Clemson baseball player to be a 3-time All-American, according to the ABCA, will be inducted into the National College Baseball Hall of Fame June 26th in a virtual ceremony. That announcement was made today by the College Baseball Foundation. He'll be one of 14 to be inducted in June. First former Clemson player to be inducted. The late Bill Wilhelm is also among the inductees. Oh, so Wilhelm is going in as well in this class.
Wow.
With Atkins, if I'm reading this right. He joins his head coach, the late Bill Wilhelm, among the inductees. Rusty Atkins, I tell you, great baseball player. I see him, well, when we have the South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, I usually see him there because he's a member. Just one of the funniest guys you'll ever talk to or run into. Great guy. Congratulations to him on this honor. The Panthers signed 6 of their draft picks today, including Shi Smith. So he's now signed his rookie contract with the Panthers. And, I know you wanted to talk about this. Let's do this quickly before we get to calls. This came out yesterday, but the National Federation of High School Sports says, or National Federation of High Schools, says that beginning with the 22-23 season, a 35-second shot clock will be permitted in high school basketball games by state association adoption. Proposal for a national rule mandating a shot clock was not approved. So they'll give each state the opportunity to adopt this 35-second shot clock for high school basketball.
The only thing I like about that is the federation did not make it a national rule. I think this is unnecessary. If you've ever gone to a high school basketball game, Phil, in the last 15 or 20 years, take a stopwatch with you and time each possession. I can promise you, especially in a boys' game, the possessions won't last more than 15 or 20 seconds. There's no need for a shot clock in high school basketball. Plus, that doesn't even begin to add in the expense of, first off, putting in 2 shot clocks and then training another volunteer to come in and run, which is in basketball probably the most important aspects aside from the players on the floor and the ball itself, because you've got to be on. I mean, it's one thing to run the game clock and stop it and start it when the ball goes out of bounds and is put back into play. But it's an entirely different thing to know the rules and make sure you get the shot clock right. And I can't begin to imagine the headache it is going to be for referees to try and figure out and keep an eye on the shot clock. It's totally unnecessary, in my opinion. One thing I'm sure they've used as a template, there was a game, I want to say this past year or 2 years ago in one of the playoffs, and it may have been in our state, where one team held the ball the entire quarter because they realized they didn't have a shot against the team they were playing. I get that, but that's an anomaly versus 99% of high school basketball games where you don't need a shot clock. I never understood the push to get shot clocks into high school basketball because I think they're totally unnecessary.
I think you're right. I mean, almost every team now is up and down the court playing transition. So, but it'll be there for the states to adopt if they want to. All right, let's go to the phone calls. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery. Lucky number here on Sports Talk. We go to Andy in Columbia. Is that right? Andy in Columbia. You're up first here on Sports Talk. Welcome in. How are you?
Good evening to Patrick. Good evening to Chris. And good evening to you there, Mr. Korn.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to number 25.
He's alive in our hearts and in our minds and in our souls.
And in our phone number.
And in our phone number.
Hopefully he's alive walking around and wherever he's at.
As far as we know, he is, yes.
Okay.
Let's don't talk about him in the past.
All right.
Let's talk about him in the present.
Yes, and in the future. Okay. Mr. Korn, I haven't heard you today talk about your team who has made the play-in round of the NBA.
You mean the NIT? I call it the NIT.
Boston Celtics.
I call it the NIT of the NBA.
I haven't heard you bragging about that today. What's wrong?
I mean, the Celtics have just crushed me. But look, we're hurt. We don't have a Jerron Brown. We're playing terrible and got beat by the Cavaliers last night. I want to go back in just a little bit. Once the regular season's over, I bet you the Celtics are going to end up with no fewer than 35 losses out of 72 games. And I bet you those 35 losses, I'm willing to bet you 20 of them came against teams with losing records. They have been horrible against bad teams this year for some reason. So, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. The Knicks, I know you love the Knicks, and the Knicks are having a charmed year, though. You blew it the other night. I'm driving back from Clemson.
Yeah, that follow-up.
And yeah, and I mean, I'm sitting here. I'm stuck having to either root for the Knicks or the Lakers. And of course, I wouldn't, if either one of them were on fire, I wouldn't do anything to help them. But I hate the Lakers more, so I was rooting for the Knicks. And you blew it. I mean, you just blew it. You had a chance and you blew it.
Well, we blew getting a 2-2 West Coast swing there, going 2-0 in LA. They choked it up there, I got to say.
Yeah.
But I got to agree with something Chris said earlier. No way South Carolina is going to be in the 20 teams for the bid when it comes out tomorrow. No way. They don't deserve it.
Not even the 20?
They don't deserve it. Tell me why they deserve it. Tell me how many teams.
They're 15 in the RPI.
How many top 50 RPI wins do they have?
Well, I can look it up here if you want me to really
look it up. Yeah, look it up. I don't, they might be, just like Chris said, they're getting points for playing top 5 RPI teams. I mean, they don't have that many wins. I think the most wins against an RPI team that they played in the series was what they swept against Florida, was the 3.
Well,
and everything else has been maybe 1. I mean, they lost 3 to Texas, lost 3 to Mississippi.
Well,
1 and 2 to Mississippi State.
I can tell you here real quick.
Set it out real quick for us, Mr. Corn. Please.
Well, this says in quadrant 1, they are 12 and 15. They are 4 and 1 against quadrant 2, 3 and 2 against quadrant 3, and 9 and 0 against quadrant 4 teams.
So against quality opponents, they have a losing record.
Yeah, against your top group, they're 12 and 15. Yes.
So they'd be 16 and 16 with wins in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2, if I did the math correctly.
12 and 4, 15. They'd be 16 and 16. You are correct, sir.
So right around the 500 mark, which to me, as Andy's pointing out, I'm not sure that's a resume worthy of a host site.
Right. And you know what? And it's a resume that's pushing a number 2 spot in my eyes. They will get a number 2, but it's still pushing a number 2, especially when you look at what they're doing coming down the stretch. And that's what they look at when they're doing seedings, don't they? Is what you've done in your past 20-odd games or 24-odd games. They're not looking at what you did at the beginning. They're looking more at what you're doing towards the end of the regular season when they're seeding you. Am I missing that?
Well, I think, traditionally basketball, baseball, they do kind of look at how you're finishing up your last 10, last 15 games, how you're playing. But they do consider your entire body of work and the health of your team as well. And, look, Gamecocks, they got a sweep of Florida. That looks good on their resume.
15 weeks ago.
Yeah, but it's still on there. They took 2 of 3 from Clemson. They took.
And Clemson's going to struggle to get into the
right,
regionals.
Right. Yeah.
So that's nothing. They went to
Texas.
Well,
that's a quite right. Now this quadrant thing can change now because like Clemson is 47 in the RPI. Your quadrant 1 is all opponents 1 through 50 in the RPI. So that could still change depending on what your opponents do here down the stretch. I mean, Clemson would be the one that's teetering on the edge of dropping out of that quadrant 1.
My feeling is this: they're going to be lucky to go 2-4 in these last 2 SEC series. Just personal feeling about that.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully they'll do better, but that's just my personal feeling. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be 2 wins in Kentucky and then getting swept here, but that's just how I feel about it right now. I just don't see this team as being anything, that great. And that's just where I'm at.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good to hear from
have
you.
A great evening.
Thank you. Thank you very
Andy.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the Gamecocks, they have a win over Mississippi State. They have 1. They have 1 win over Arkansas. They have a couple of wins over LSU on the road.
They swept top 5 Florida at home. That helps.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
And you know what may actually, if they
do
get
listen
a
to the show, Pat, you might learn something. Jeez.
And Phil, if they do get a regional, that 1 win at Vanderbilt may be the reason why. That win and the one this past weekend against Mississippi State, just not getting swept by those 2 teams may be enough to get them in.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the call. 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Tiger Bryan in Lancaster with us next. Welcome in, Tiger Bryan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, guys. Hey, this is the best show I've heard yet in my 20 plus years calling in.
Well, thank you.
Hey, you know what? Hey, we was all 12 years old at one time. You know, I'm not going to say I'm going to say nothing else about that. You know what I mean? And I think I'll be buying his CDs because he's talented.
He
and,
is. You know, it reminds me of course, you know, coming out of Spartanburg, which, if I'm not mistaken, Spartanburg, the home of the Marshall Tucker Band, and also the home of who's the really, really good country music singer, solo artist. Oh, help me, somebody. Chris.
Will Bryce that played.
No, he's from Sumter.
Oh, okay. I knew he's from South Carolina.
That's Lee Bryce. Isn't that Lee Bryce? Lee Bryce,
Yes.
the punter.
Yeah,
the punter.
yeah.
Yeah. Here's a good question. Who has the best country music solo artist? Lee Bryce for Clemson, or what's his name? Hootie for
Darius Rucker.
Yeah. Darius Rucker. Yeah.
Hootie's hands down. I love Hootie's and Blakefish.
No, I'm talking about as a country music solo artist, though.
Well, I'd flip a coin because I like Hootie and Blowfish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen them a bunch of times. But yeah, hey, but you know what? It's so sad this time and age. You have to be politically correct, and they bring up stuff. If they brought up stuff about me or anybody in this world, they're gonna find something bad on you nowadays. I'm like, man, come on now. That's all
I can't imagine anything in your past that would be embarrassing.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I stay at home.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, but you know what? Hey, I got tomatoes already on my tomato plants, and I got 12 watermelon plants up in the plant. Hey,
Do you like tomato sandwiches smothered in mayonnaise?
Yeah, mayonnaise, salt, and pepper. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. That's good.
Hey,
Which
homegrown tomato.
you like Dukes? You go with Dukes or you go with Hellman?
Dukes is the only one. No, I go with Dukes, baby. You don't go to Hellman, do you?
No. I like Dukes. I like Dukes.
I was Dukes. I was raised on Dukes. You know. But Jay, that's all I wanted to say.
How many heart attacks did you say you've had already?
I've had one.
Okay.
I've got 3 stents in, and I'm doing great, guys.
We hope so.
That's awesome.
Right. Y'all, I mean, I just wanted to just put my 2 cents in, you know what I mean? But,
your 2 cents is worth $1 on Sports Talk.
Well, but you know what? It gets me when stuff like that happens. But I'm 58 years old, Cole, and I don't let nothing worry me no more.
No.
Because, good Lord's going to take care of Tiger Brown.
That's right.
Yeah, he's got me to 58. He's got me. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. And you sound better every day. That's
right. I'm doing a lot better.
That's good. Glad to hear it.
Hey, I want to appreciate y'all. Hey, I will give a shout out to Sports Talk. If anybody's listening to this, hey, they are the bomb. Hey, they straight up. They don't have no favorite. And some people think y'all do. Nope. Y'all tell the truth. I love the truth, brother.
Well, thank you. Always great hearing from you. And keep in touch. I'm trying to find the name, but we know Marshall Tucker Band, but there's a famous solo artist from Spartanburg who's a country music star. Whose name?
When you delve, you don't know this about me, and our listeners don't, but when you delved into country music, you turned my attention away.
Josh Turner? How about Josh Turner from Florence? You've heard of him, haven't you?
I think so.
This Josh Turner from Florence is the guy with the voice. He's got this really deep, deep voice. Yeah, he can rattle a building with his voice.
The music, in my opinion, died in about the mid '80s.
With who?
I'm classic rock, and you can take everything else. Just tell me some classic rock on the tube, and I'm ready to go.
You like that, huh?
I do.
It'll come to me here shortly. If anybody can think of solo country music star from Spartanburg, I mean, who really was a big time. He's older now. He was a big time singer. I'm pretty sure he's from Spartanburg. I'm almost 100% sure he was from Spartanburg. I'll keep working on that in my head. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery Lucky number here on Sports Talk. Let's go ahead and give you the recruiting report while we have a moment here on Sports Talk. Our recruiting report brought to you by the good friends of ours over at Seawells. Of course, the place to go for lunch every day, Monday through Friday from 11 to 2. They have a great lunch buffet. When I say great, I don't throw the word great around loosely. When I say great, I mean great, as in like really, really good, special good. A meat and three, and anything else you want to add to it, salad, dessert, beverage of your choice. And they do a great job of presenting and serving you with your food, keeping it very, very safe. So Seawells for lunch, and then Seawells for, of course, the best in the catering business. Whatever you've got coming up, now that we can continue to socialize a little bit more and more, the CDC telling us that we can, drop those masks if you've been fully vaccinated indoors and have some gatherings and things like that. You're going to want the best in the catering business. One call to make, and that's the Seawells. 803-771-7385, online at seawellscatering.sc.com to check out the menu options. So, Malik Bryant is a five-star linebacker from ING Academy in Bradenton, Florida, already a top prospect in the 23 class. Offers include elite programs like Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and Ohio State. Clemson has been in touch, but has yet to offer. And he's understanding about that because he understands that Clemson moves a little bit slower than a lot of other schools. He has been in touch with Lemansky Hall and Todd Bates and Brent Venables, and they're letting him know that they like his film. They really like him, and they've told him when it's their time to offer, when they offer their top guys, that he'll be getting an offer. No question about that. And he says what he's looking for is a family atmosphere and a coach who doesn't beat around the bush, just get straight to the point. He said he sees that in Clemson. And he's already been named a All-American for the 2020 season as a sophomore and was the only sophomore on the Max Preps Florida All-State team. His versatility was one of his strengths because he can play outside linebacker. He can be an edge rusher. And he said in Clemson's 4-3, he'd be an edge rusher. He'd also stand up on the edge as well. So they like his versatility. But his recruitment has a long way to go, and he's looking for that family feeling where everything revolves around family and being able to trust one another and trust the coaching staff. That's what he is looking for. Also, the Wofford men's basketball team has added another signee to its 21 class. Jay McCauley making that announcement today. 6'6" Luke Turner of Temecula, California. Maybe it's Temecula, California. Signing with Wofford. Also, Greenville safety Ashton Whitner plans to make camp stops at Clemson June 3rd and USC June 11th. He has officials at Syracuse and West Virginia in June. There you go with recruiting tonight here on Sports Talk. Make sure you check it out on our website, sportstalksc.com. Let's try that again. sportstalksc.com. I wasn't speaking French there. sportstalksc.com and also on our Twitter.
Sure, Cornwood.
At Sports Talk SC. I've got enough over-the-counter medication in me to open a pharmacy.
Are you thinking of David Ball?
No.
Okay.
Did you come up with a name, Pat?
No.
No, come on. It's certainly. Well, let's go back to the phones. It'll come to me. Oh, this is appropriate. We've got Lee Greenwood on the line.
That's what I thought it would be. Yes.
Or Lee in Greenwood, but Lee Greenwood. Welcome in, Lee. How are you? Good to have you with us from Greenwood tonight.
Hey, Phil. How you doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
Ready for the name?
Do you have it?
Yes, I do. Buck Trent.
No. I mean, he might be
Yes,
one,
sir.
but that's not who I'm thinking of, though.
Yeah.
I
Buck
must
Trent.
I must be mistaken. I must be mistaken who I'm thinking about. Joe, is it Joe something? Joe. It'll come
Joe
to me.
Diffie?
No.
I'll tell you, I've been listening to country music since I was knee-high to a grasshopper.
But is Buck Trent from Spartanburg?
Yes, sir, he is.
Okay. That's not who I'm thinking of. I could be wrong. I think this guy is from Spartanburg. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, Buck Trent's from Spartanburg.
Is he a famous country
Oh,
musician?
yeah, he's on the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh.
He plays the banjo. He was on Hee Haw.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, he's big time.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm still going to keep.
Somebody's laughing. I ain't figuring out why.
No. I'm
That's
just.
how old I am.
I'm with you.
I don't mind it.
I love Hee Haw, man. I grew up watching Hee Haw.
Hey, I did too. We have a 3-channel.
That's right. That's all we
My
had.
daddy had a remote.
You
He said, boy, get up there and turn that TV.
You were the human remote. I hear you. All right. Thank you very much. Good hearing from you. I'm going to keep thinking on this, see if I can come up with what's on my mind. I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to come up with the name anyway. We'll continue in a moment.
Local in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Columbia's local talk radio experience. 107 The Point. MakeThePointRadio.com. The Point. The Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. Biden administration taking steps to punish criminals responsible for ransomware attack.
The U.S. doesn't believe the Russian government was responsible for the ransomware attack on the Colonial Pipeline, but President Biden says the perpetrators are from Russia.
We have been in direct communication with Moscow about the imperative for responsible countries to take decisive action against these ransomware networks.
He says his administration is pursuing ways to disrupt ransomware hackers. Separately, Mr. Biden refuses to say whether Colonial paid a ransom. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Meanwhile, Washington, D.C. Police Department suffering a massive leak of internal information after refusing to meet the blackmail demands of Russian-speaking ransomware syndicate. Experts say it's the worst-known ransomware attack ever to hit a U.S. police department. Also at townhall.com, a bill that would make Washington, D.C. the country's 51st state, picking up the support of a key holdout in the Senate. Here's Bob Agnew with that story.
New Hampshire Democrat Jean Shaheen has signed on as the 45th supporter of the bill for D.C. statehood. The bill passed the House last month, but faces a rocky road in the Senate where not all Democrats have signed on and none of the 10 Republicans it would need to advance. Democratic swing vote Joe Manchin says supporters of D.C. statehood should instead propose a constitutional amendment and then let the American people vote. Bob Agnew reporting.
If you are tired of wearing a mask, you may be in luck. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention easing indoor mask wearing guidance for fully vaccinated people, allowing them to stop wearing masks inside most places. New guidance will still call for wearing masks in crowded indoor settings, such as a bus, an airplane, a hospital, homeless shelter, or if you're in prison. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father and son founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discounted to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. Relief Factor.
Having your own home is awesome, but it's also a lot of work. The good news, finding help for your projects is easier than ever. Introducing Angie, the app that puts all your home care needs at your fingertips. Need a pro to fix that emergency leak? Maybe find someone to build a deck, or even set your seasonal tasks on autopilot. Angie can handle all that and more. Expert pros, hundreds of home projects, clear pricing, and the easiest way to book and pay in seconds. This is Angie, your home for everything home. Download the app today.
Israel is feeling the economic ramifications of the skirmish with Palestinians. The latest from the Media Lines Police Friedrichsen.
British Airways has joined a growing list of international carriers that have canceled flights to and from Israel. As the Jewish state fights off massive missile barrages, it must now deal as well with isolation. United, Delta, and American Airlines halted Israeli operations when the first rockets targeted the nearby city of Tel Aviv on Tuesday. El Al Airlines is rerouting its aircraft, many outfitted with anti-missile mechanisms, to an airfield near the southern city of Eilat. Some European airlines are continuing to fly, but those that do are increasingly rare. Meanwhile, the Israeli army is calling up thousands of reserves and massing along the border with the Gaza Strip. I'm Felice Friedson, Town Hall News, Jerusalem.
News and analysis at MediaLine.org and townhall.com.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The
A
Point.
social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Please press button now. No, that number's bigger than the one I said.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
I promise you this is not a hoax. I mean, I know sometimes talk show hosts create something to generate interest and phone calls. I mean, I promise you that's not what we're doing here. You know we don't do that. But I truly believe that there is this country music singer from Spartanburg who's a big-time star, but I can't remember his name. Now, I could be wrong, too, about where he's from. I could have him confused with somebody else. But right now I'm just trying to think of the name. But I can't come up with a name. He's a solo act. He's a little older. He's had a number of country music hits. He's probably not from Spartanburg. I probably have that part wrong. But anyway, got some folks who want to take a shot to tell us who it is. And we got
corn blue coffee mug.
Yeah, really. And we got Mike Morgan coming up in just a second. But let's go ahead and go to John. Is it John in Seabrook? John in Seabrook? Okay, John. Hey, how are you? Welcome to Sports Talk.
All right, I'm going to make a statement in a hush. I'm the one that worked at PA when you came out to the Ocean Course prior to 2012 PGA.
Yeah.
Fought with you on the 17. You had a good caddy with you. I tell you, don't worry about the water, and the rest is history. But anyway, I believe you're talking about Aaron Tippin from Blue Ridge High School in Travelers Rest. Am I wrong or right?
Well,
Aaron Tippin.
that's not who I'm thinking of. I didn't know Aaron Tippin was from Blue Ridge up in Greer. That's not who I'm thinking of, though. But thank you for that. How do you were doing what when we were there in 2012?
I was a ranger, and you came up. You were on 17. You were playing with a caddy.
Yeah.
You know, 17 par 3 over the water.
Yeah, yeah.
And I asked you first the question, who was going to be the next athletic director? You told me RT.
Yeah.
And I said I trust that guy from now on.
So I gave you some correct information, huh?
Yeah.
How'd I do on my drive? Did I hit the green?
Well, you know, it's par 3 over water, and there's a big wall. So
what you're telling me is that I drowned my ball.
Barely hit the wall and it bounced back in the water. First time. The second time, ditto.
You remember that? Wow. Wow.
You remember when you were walking with a caddy, and I think you had enough. You were on the 17th hole. You don't remember that?
I do.
Man,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do remember. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I remember playing the course in 2012. Wait a minute.
Well,
Was that in the middle of the summer? When we
because it was all the tournament was in August.
Wait a minute. That wasn't the day that I nearly croaked on the course, was it?
You had a couple of wheels that weren't moving very good.
Were you were there with us?
Yeah, no. I was on the 17th. I was a ranger. I was the one to say, "Hurry up, Phil! Hurry up and hit." And he said, "Can I sit in your cart?" I said, "Yeah, there's a bench right here. But sit in the cart with me."
Oh, I remember that. I was so out of it. I think I looked down. I saw 3 golf balls. I just tried to hit the one in the middle. I remember it was 110 degrees. There was no shade. I remember that. And anybody, my buddy who was with me was like laughing his tail off. I remember they had to revive me after the darn round. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I mean the Walton Ocean course is a monster, but
yeah, especially in July. In July, you're walking. Even when you're, but the thing is, when you're taking as many shots as we're taking, it's not like you're a PGA pro. You know, hitting it 1 or 2, one time. You know, you're hitting it 4 times just to get it to the green in some cases. You know.
Yeah, I remember you asked me some advice, and I said, "Phil, just hit and hope."
Hit and hope. That's it. Hey, it's great hearing from you, though. I'm glad you're still doing well.
Take care, fellas.
Thank
Feel
you.
better.
Thank you. Well, I feel great. Well, I mean, compared to that day, I feel great.
Phil, we have
that
had
was
two.
that was a rough day. That
It
was a
sounds
rough.
like it.
That I remember that. That was. I'm telling you, I'm not going to hide from the fact that about the time we got to the 17th, I was totally done. I mean, had nothing left in the engine, but I was going to finish. I was going to walk to the clubhouse, which is right off the 18th. I was going to make it back and complete my round, but I had nothing left. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say we've had two listeners tweet us at Sports Talk SC, both saying David Ball is the answer from Spartanburg. So maybe we should cast a wider net across the entire upstate to figure out the country music legend in which you've been referencing.
I guess I probably have it wrong, and I apologize. It'll come to me. It'll come to me, and I'm either totally wrong or I'm going to shock some people. But certainly, all these country music fans would know this, so I'm probably totally wrong, and I apologize because I really thought there was another performer from Spartanburg who's a country music star, and I got to come up with a name. Let's go to Lou in Hanahan. We're going to get Mike on the phone while we talk to Lou. Lou, welcome in. How are you?
Doing well, Phil. It's good to hear from you and talk to you again.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for Mr. Bergen, please.
Bergen. Now, we don't
I'll
have
answer it about anything.
we don't have Chris Berman. We have Chris. There's a little bit of difference, I'm afraid, in the paycheck and in the letters in the last name.
I would understand that.
Yeah.
I think you call him Bergie, right?
Bergie.
Hey,
Well, that sounds
I'll
good.
answer it about anything, Lou. Just don't call me late for dinner. That'll be about the only thing.
I've never heard that one before. That's a good one. I tell you what, getting to the PC situation, I was thinking about it. Do you think maybe the president and the AD had contacted that coach beforehand, and to see before the job was even open, would he take the job?
It's an interesting question. They, in terms of coaching searches, I think Phil, you'd agree it was one of the quicker ones that we've seen in a long time. So it would at least get you to speculate that they had somebody in the background if they got rid of Tommy Spangler. I'm still trying to find out why they fired Tommy Spangler to begin with. That's the part that's still puzzling to me. And Kevin Kelly, listening to him last week when we had him on the program, I was awfully impressed in what he had to say. But I fear he's a guy, if he does have some success at PC over the next year or so, he's going to use Presbyterian as a college stepping stone.
Oh, well, most certainly. And I think, a lot of people have heard of his style because in South Carolina, I guess about 10 years ago, Berkeley did it for 1 year, and that's they certainly let the coach go after that. But it seems sometimes the rookie has a good record. But I was just thinking, was kind of like the AD already knew about the guy. And second of all, I mean, most people I talked to said they would at least try to watch a PC game once on TV or something. Watch a team like that do that type of stuff. Go for it on fourth, laterals, onside kicks every time. Come on. So I just think it might get more people in the stands. It might get people a little more publicity. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to say this, and thanks for your call because we got to run. Good hearing from you. I mean, we were all shocked and surprised when they let Tommy Spangler go. We all like Coach Spangler as a person and thought he was a good football coach and thought he had guided PC through some very difficult times transition-wise and had his hands tied in a lot of ways in trying to have a winning program. That being said, they made the move. We'll see. Anytime you change coaches, it's a roll of the dice. You either get it right or you get it wrong. And from our one conversation with Coach Kelly, I mean, he seems like a very smart, very bright, very inventive type of football coach with a lot of ideas. And does he want to use PC as a stepping stone to a bigger job? Well, I mean, probably yes. They probably know that going in. I mean, he is 51 years old. Does he want to make Clinton his home for the rest of his life and coach in non-scholarship football? I mean, if he has a great run of 2 or 3 years there, he could find himself next coaching at the FCS or Division II level, and get a chance to move up. That wouldn't surprise me. But if you're PC, you probably would take that because that means he's having success, winning games, and the guy behind him will inherit a much better situation, probably.
I would agree with all of that, Phil, and I think it would be somewhat ironic if he left, let's say, for instance, I don't know, the Newberry job just to pull a D2 school out of the hat that were to open, and he felt like that was a step up. How ironic would it be that he was coaching at a school that had some success at Division II before moving up to Division I, and he leaves a D1 job to go get a D2 job because it may actually be better in terms of scholarship opportunities.
All right, we got Mike Morgan on the line, and
Mike will know the answer to this. I'm telling you, Phil.
which one? The country music?
Country music
God,
question.
I don't know the answer to it, and I'm the one that created the question. So, Mike brought to us here on Sports Talk by Stuart Wingo of Ameris Mortgage. Save thousands on a refi or a new mortgage today at 803-319-1777. I've stumped myself. Of course, that's not an unusual occurrence because I've created a question that I thought I had the answer to, but I don't. Country music singer, solo star, who I thought was from Spartanburg. This all came up because American Idol has booted one of its top 5 performers who was from Spartanburg because of some video of him when he was 12 years old. And it just got me thinking about country music stars from Spartanburg. Of course, Marshall Tucker Band. There's a solo artist I thought who's a big timer, older guy who I thought was from Spartanburg. But people have thrown a bunch of names at me, but it's not who I'm thinking of, and I can't think of who I'm thinking of. You got any ideas? Did Mike hang up on us? I mean, I know he's
the longest winded intro he probably did, Phil.
Hello, Mike. Are you there? Did we lose him? I tell you what, let's hit the break and we'll get it back together. I went through all that, and he's not there. Maybe he didn't think I was going to get to a question. You know, Mike, he's an impatient type. All right, Pat, let's hit the break, and we'll get Mike back on the line. And we'll hear from Mike Morgan coming up here on Sports Talk after the break. We'll get to that and then get to Mike. And we're going to hear from Mark Kingston and from Monty Lee, and our visit coming up as well with the head baseball coach at Florence Darlington Tech, Preston McDonald, as we're getting ready for a regional showdown coming up this weekend for a chance to go to the World Series. Back in a moment. Hi, this is Phil Kornblut of Sports Talk here with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. What words of wisdom do you have for those hitting the water this summer?
Phil, collisions can be prevented easily if every vessel operator fulfills 3 major responsibilities. 1, practice good seamanship. It's the responsibility of every boat or PWC operator to take all necessary action to avoid a collision. 2, keep a proper lookout. Failing to keep a sharp lookout is the most common cause of boating collisions. And finally, maintain a safe speed. Remember, boat safe, boat smart.
Welcome to Tiny Stories. Today we're with Sonia, who recently won $500 on a scratch-off. I am such a loser. I'm so confused.
Ever been to a family reunion?
Not if I can help it.
My dad's family rents a beach house every year. I've always said I can't afford to go.
I am so sorry.
I'm assigned a sleeping bag on the porch with cousins I've never met.
Been there. Even got the t-shirt.
You may be Cousin Tina.
No. You know what? That's it for the South Carolina Education Lottery. Tell your story at tellyourtinystory.com.
It's been a trying year for parents. They've been confronted with countless challenges and have always risen to the occasion. If it isn't too much to ask, the 97,000 high school student athletes in South Carolina have one last request.
Please, set an example.
Disorderly fan conduct at high school athletic events is on the rise. It increasingly involves parents. There's no question that parents are passionate. There's no question they care about their children. But at a time when we're all wound a little more tightly than usual, it's worth remembering this about South Carolina high school sports. Always be a good example. Stop unruly fan behavior before it starts.
This message presented by the South Carolina High School League and the South Carolina Athletic Administrators Association.
You're listening to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment. The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology at Florence Darlington Technical College specializes in sophisticated manufacturing services and workforce development training. The SIMT offers rapid prototyping, additive manufacturing, advanced machining, and business incubation services to clients from across the state and nation, plus social media listening services and rentals of conferencing and training spaces. The SIMT also houses an 800-seat auditorium, a conference center that can seat more than 1,200 for dinner or a luncheon, and numerous classroom spaces with state-of-the-art presentation technologies. Visit our website at simt.com or call 866-304-7468 for more information. The SIMT, technology to grow your business. The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Play or practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit maincoursesc.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
Founders is offering a low-rate mortgage with up to $4,000 in closing costs to full-time hospital employees, honoring your frontline efforts against COVID-19. With no PMI, no origination fee, and no limit on the loan amount, you can't go wrong. Visit founders.com/HEC and apply for your hospital employee choice mortgage today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Founders is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by the NCUA.
It's all over. Travis Tritt is who I was thinking of, and he's from Marietta, Georgia. Okay, I apologize. I thought he was from Spartanburg. James Travis Tritt, born in Marietta, Georgia, went to Sprayberry High School. A lot of football players come out of Sprayberry High School. That's who I was thinking about. I had to go down a list of the top 100 songs of all time, and he's on that list. So
I'm just so glad you solved that puzzle
my
because
brain
I can
was
envision
about
you
to explode. Yeah,
I
Travis
was
Tritt is who I was thinking of. I thought he was from Spartanburg. I don't know why. I thought he was from Spartanburg. He's from Marietta, Georgia. Okay, I'll keep my mouth shut. But thanks for all the calls on that issue. It's nice to know people listen to us who have interest in other things besides sports. Speaking of good old country, folks, here is Monty Lee, who I spoke with this afternoon. He's on the way to Tallahassee for their series with Florida State. I asked him what that win over South Carolina the other night meant to his team.
Well, it's certainly put your ball club in a really good frame of mind for a couple days here as we travel to Florida State and get ready for a really good Florida State ball club. Anytime you play your rival and you get a win, it's a good thing. And a midweek win going into the weekend against a really good club certainly makes the bus ride down a lot better, and everybody's in a much better spirits and a much better mood going into the weekend. It doesn't guarantee success on the weekend, as you know. A lot of that's going to be dependent upon how both Friday night starters pitch and how each ball club plays. But it certainly does make the yesterday and today a lot nicer as we prepare for Florida State.
I know when South Carolina reflects on that game the other night, they'll point to not coming up with the clutch hit when they had runners on base in those early innings and they left like 8 guys on base. But I guess the flip of it is you can say, well, your pitchers came up with some pretty good pitches in the clutch to make sure they didn't get those big hits.
Yeah, I would agree. I thought, Rafael pitched his way out of some pretty tough jams, and they had some opportunities. He just executed pitches when he needed to execute pitches, and felt like our pitching staff as a whole just did a really good job. Rob Hughes was really good for us out of the pen. Paul Labriola was really good for us out of the pen. Davis Sharp and Hoffman, everybody that we threw in that game just did a really nice job overall. But I thought the biggest key was there in the first 3 innings was Carter's ability, to pitch out of, multiple times, had runners on base and was able to pitch out of it. We were able to help him on defense and, get us off the field and keep us in the ball game until we were able to score a couple runs there in the middle innings. They didn't help themselves, obviously. They made an error on a bump play, threw a ball away. We scored 2 runs, and from then on we were off and running, and found a way to tack on some runs in the back half of that game and win it.
All right, so Florida State coming up, and I know last weekend was a huge disappointment being swept at Georgia Tech, so you've got to make it up this weekend at Florida State. What will be your pitching plans?
So we're going to go with Mac Anglin in game 1. We'll go with Keyshawn Askew in game 2, and then we're going to go TBA in game 3. We do not have Matt Clark available this weekend. Fairly interesting situation. He is beginning physical therapy school and is unable to be with us this weekend. And is questionable for next weekend as well. So we're going to have some guys step up around, without him being in there and fill that void. But we feel like we have enough pieces where guys can do it. The Sunday game, it will be dependent upon how we use Sharp and how we use Nick Clayton out of the bullpen. I would say those 2 guys are potential candidates to start that 3rd game. And also, we'll see how Rafield feels. Rafield, through 3 innings, we'll see how he feels with 4 days rest. He is also an option to pitch out of the pen on Sunday or potentially start if needed.
No way to minimize that loss of Clark for this weekend and potentially next weekend. And Academic wins out over Athletics this time.
Well, as you know, this is a situation that's going to set him up for life. And, baseball doesn't last for all of us for very long. For most of these guys, it's college baseball, and hopefully they get an opportunity to play professional baseball. Some of them get a chance to play for a long time, but as you know, Phil, most of them, we have to go to work at some point, and this is an opportunity that Matt just can't walk away from. And, we wish him well as he begins, grad school in the physical therapy field.
All right. And what about Florida State concerns you?
Well, they can really, really pitch. They have statistically the best pitching staff in our league. They have a 3-something ERA as a staff. Their starting pitching has just been outstanding all year long. So they don't give you a whole lot. We're going to have to pitch and play defense all weekend long. And they've got tremendous power. They've hit 64 home runs as an offense, led by Matthew Nelson, Elijah Cable. Nelson arguably is having, an ACC Player of the Year type season. Their catcher, he's hit 20 home runs, just having an incredible year. But they've got power on the offensive side, and they can really, really pitch. So we're going to have to do a good job of executing pitches, playing good defense behind our pitching staff, and we got to hope that we can, put together some quality at bats and compete at the plate and just find ways to score runs.
Will your lineup look much different than it did the other night against South Carolina?
I don't think so. We will consider a couple options. They typically have been starting 2 left-handers on the weekend, so we'll look at what we feel like is our best matchups with versus a left-handed starter. But over the course of this year, we've actually hit left-handed pitching a little bit better than we have right-handed pitching. So I don't think we're going to change a whole lot from what we have been doing.
All right, Monty Lee earlier today as they were making their way down to Tallahassee. You look at the Tigers breakdown, Chris, and they're only 11-17 against top 50 teams in the RPI, 10-3 against the quad 2 teams. So not a very strong record by any means against the best teams on their schedule. So basically, they're going to they got to start piling up some wins. They got Florida State for 3, they got Duke for 3, and then they got the ACC tournament where they better go deep in that tournament in Charlotte.
This is a great opportunity for them. They took advantage of the chance they had with the reschedule against South Carolina back on a Tuesday, and then went over to USC. Obviously, it's going to help them a little bit in terms of quad wins. Now we start looking forward to the NCAA tournament, but not may be a must for them to take 2 out of 3 from Florida State. That's a really cool ballpark that they have down in Tallahassee. Have you ever been to a game there?
I have. I've covered regionals down there. In fact, I was there for a regional many years ago, and Auburn was there. And, of course, Frank Thomas. And I believe Frank Thomas and Bo Jackson were playing for Auburn. And I remember I was walking to the press box, I think, and I picked up a foul ball that came off the bat of maybe Frank Thomas. I don't know. But I kept that foul ball.
I can't blame you. That's really cool stuff. But, yeah, it's nestled in there right beside their football stadium.
And then I went and bought a bottle of Nugenics after I picked up the foul ball.
And took some BP and started hitting them over the center field wall, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, he does those commercials for Nugenics for those who are wondering what I'm talking about there. So he wasn't doing them then. They didn't have NLI back in the mid-'80s when he was playing. All right, we'll be back. Going to talk some Flodar baseball coming up.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool overnight with a low dipping down to 46. Tomorrow, more of the same what we had today. Sunshine, a bit warmer, a high of 74. The weekend looks great, too. Saturday, we get 77 as our high with a mix of sun and clouds. While on Sunday, back up to 80 degrees, more sunshine than clouds. I'm Kevin Cohn with your On Point local weather.
Right now, we all might feel a little disconnected. For seniors living alone with smaller social circles, feelings of loneliness and isolation can feel overwhelming. But there's something we can all do to help. Connect with your older loved one virtually and have the conversation of a lifetime with StoryCorps Connect. Anyone can conduct an interview, and every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history. Connect, honor, share at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Israel mobilizing an additional 9,000 reservist troops amid fighting with Hamas. Israel's military spokesman says forces are massing on the border with the Gaza Strip. The defense ministry says the latest mobilization approved by the defense minister was, quote, an exceptional call-up. Well, the police department in Washington, D.C. suffering a massive leak of internal information. That after refusing to meet the blackmail demands of a Russian-speaking ransomware syndicate. The pumps remain shrouded by plastic bags at a lot of gas stations across the South right now, but a pipeline company reporting substantial progress in restarting the line. Colonial Pipeline, though, says it'll be several days before things get back to normal. This is SRN News.
Are you ready to make your money work for you rather than you working for your money? Dave Ramsey here. Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union, serving the Midlands since 1936. Palmetto Citizens is not a mega bank, so you can count on good old-fashioned customer service and the profits going back to you. Plus, they care about your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
I'm home. Is the AC turned on? It's hot.
I've got bad news.
What?
Our AC died.
You're kidding me.
No, but there's a bright side. Our contractor says Dominion Energy offers rebates up to $500 if we upgrade to Energy Star qualified equipment.
That's nice, but almost sounds too good to be true.
No, I checked it out. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
One thing you hear on The Point all day long, it's be intentional. You hear it from our local and national hosts, and I practice what I preach. So when it comes to my biggest financial investment, my home, well, I'm pretty intentional. I had Allstate Seamless Gutter come out, and they fixed me up. Think about this. You spend between, $800, $1,500 on gutters for your house. That's an intentional investment. It protects your home against so many things that can cost thousands and thousands of dollars later on. Things like mold damage or foundation repairs. And while we're talking about being intentional, when Doug and his team came out, did the job on my home, well, we partnered up to help save you some money. If you call 833-5-GUTTER, tell them you want that point discount, that's 40% off your gutters. Make an intentional decision about your home. Protect your biggest financial investment. They do great work. And I won't endorse Allstate Seamless Gutter if I didn't have them come out and do the work on my own home. Peace of mind and new gutters at a great price. That's being intentional. Allstate Seamless Gutter, 833-5-GUTTER. That's 833-5-GUTTER.
Hi, this is Marcia Clayman.
And I'm Karen Pickard. We're your hosts for the Positive Point on Aging.
We'll talk about aging gracefully and senior care every Tuesday morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock a.m.
Join us right here on The Point for the Positive Point on Aging.
Brought to you by Oakley Village of Lexington.
Hey, honey, I hear they have the COVID vaccine over at True Pharmacy.
Yes, I heard that too. And the pharmacist said they have the Johnson & Johnson one-shot vaccine.
So how do we sign up to get it? I hear they go super quick.
Just log onto their website at truerxsc.com, click on the COVID vaccines link, and choose your location.
But what if there are no appointments available?
They refresh their website every time the state sends the new shipment of vaccines.
Great. I'll put that on my to-do list right now.
Remember, it's truerxsc.com.
Weekdays from 7 to 9 on The Point. It's Kev and Brian in the morning. The news, the traffic 4 times an hour, and your daily forecast. Topics to wake you up, topics to make you smile and laugh. Hope you'll join us.
Been a busy night here on Sports Talk. Appreciate everybody being with us. Update a couple of things. Baseball, Red Sox leading the Athletics, top of the second, 3-0. Rays over the Yankees, 2-0. Top of the second there. In golf, they are playing the Byron Nelson out in McKinney, Texas. And your leader is J.J. Spawn. He is 9 under, 63, along with Jordan Spieth, who always plays great in Texas, his home state. 9 under, 63. J.J. Spawn is from San Diego State. Finished 18th last week in Charlotte, so continues to play well. Rafa Cabrera Bello is at 8 under with Aaron Wise. Doc Redmond, the former Clemson star, 64. Ooh, Pat, your old boy, Ben Martin, 7 under, 65.
Attaboy, Ben. Get him.
The Greenwood native, former Clemson player. So 2 Clemson players in the top 6. Martin at -7 and Redmond at -8. We also have Sergio Garcia at -7, Scott Brown at -6, Ricky Fowler at -5, Wesley Bryan, a good day. All right, Pops will be happy. 5 under, 67. Mark Anderson, the former Gamecock, at 68. Bryson DeChambeau is 69. DJ Trahan is 69. Chris Baker, South Carolinian, 3 under through 15 holes. Zalatoris is 2 under. Brooks Koepka's 1 under. Bill Haas is even par 72. And Jonathan Bird, haven't heard that name in a while, even par 72. Of course, this is the appetizer getting us ready for the PGA Championship next week down at the Ocean Course.
Hey, Phil, before we jump into Preston McDonald, one other note since we're on golf. Did you happen to see what the NCAA has stuck its foot in its mouth again?
You mean
with
down
regards
there
to
at
the
LSU?
women's golf? Yeah, the women's golf regional at Baton Rouge that was canceled before they even took a stroke. And the top 6 teams are just going to automatically advance to the next round because the course was playable, but not at championship level playable, according to the NCAA.
Yeah. And one of the players showed some pictures. They had some standing water and stuff like that, but otherwise they said the course was fine. And that's totally unfair to those players who didn't get a chance to compete, many of whom won't play college golf again. So we've got baseball all over the place, and one place to be tomorrow will be over at Florence Darlington Tech because they've got a regional tournament with the winner advancing to the College Baseball World Series out in Colorado. We're joined by Coach Preston McDonald of the Stingers, who I know is excited to be taking on Monroe College, the best 2 out of 3 for the East District Championship. All games at 1 o'clock beginning tomorrow. Coach, good to have you with us. You're coming off your conference championship victory last weekend, beating Salkehatchie and Lewisburg and SMC. Great job. Congratulations on the season. And how are you feeling going into this particular tournament?
Really excited. We get to be back at home, and that was our goal. We knew if we won the tournament, we get to be back at home, and I feel like we got a major advantage. Guys get to sleep in their own beds, and we don't have to get on our bus and travel. So we're excited about the challenge. Monroe's got a great program, great coaching staff, and very talented players. So we're looking forward to the challenge.
Well, you beat Salkehatchie 9-0. You beat Lewisburg 8-3, and you beat SMC 13-7, coming from behind to beat SMC to sweep your conference tournament at Lexington County Stadium last weekend. So you feel good about the way you played there, and you've had a good week of practice leading into this weekend.
Yeah, man, you got to start with the starting pitching. Nathan Williams started game one. He struck out the first 11 batters of the game. I don't know if I've ever seen that at this level. He ended up striking out 14. Game two, Hunter Parks went 7 innings, struck out 14. And then game three, Charlie McConan went 5 innings strong and only gave up two runs to the 5. So start pitching was just phenomenal, this past weekend. And we're hoping we can get 2 or 3, good starts out of, the guys this weekend. But, we swung the bats pretty well. We were averaging, just over 10 runs a game. So we expect to score runs, and our hitters expect to score runs. We just got to continue to have good at bats. I know Monroe has good start pitching as well, and they like to ride those guys deep into the game, 120, 140 pitches. So, it's going to be a challenge. So we're excited to get out there and see what we can do this weekend.
Of course, Parks is a kid that's committed to South Carolina, and Tolman has committed to his dad's program at Middle Tennessee State. What was Parks hitting on the radar gun last weekend?
He was anywhere between 90 and 95. Thing I was just really proud of is he just flat out pitched. I mean, it wasn't one of these things where he was just throwing fastballs by everybody. I mean, he was throwing 4 pitches for strikes, and it was really good to see. He's come a long way as a pitcher since he's gotten here, and there was quite a few scouts there, and I'm sure there will be on Saturday when he pitches. So, I'm sure they like what they saw.
Florence Darlington Tech head baseball coach Preston McDonald with us tonight on Sports Talk. And again, Coach, congratulations on advancing to this round of the playoffs. Dovetailing off of Phil's question with regards to Parks, can you win even at your level at junior college baseball or any level of baseball, maybe with the exception of high school right now, without having power arms and guys that can throw in the low to mid 90s?
Yeah, I mean, the Tolman kid, he's a little lefty. I mean, he's going to be low to mid 80s, but he's got a really good changeup, and like you said, the lefty's a little bit different, but with right-handed pitching, I mean, you're going to give yourself a better opportunity if you got guys with the power on. Nathan Williams who started game one for us. He's a little freshman that's really come a long way. He was up to 93. We had a couple of bullpen guys that were up to 92, 93 this past weekend. So, I mean, it's really changed. The guys, I guess throwing programs, the lifting programs. You got more guys with better velocity than ever, but you still got to be able to pitch. You still got to be able to throw strikes. You still got to be able to pitch in and out. You still got to be able to change pitches. Still got to be able to field your position and hold runners. And that's something that we take a lot of pride in. We haven't given up a whole lot of stolen bases this season, we feel like our pitchers do a good job of fielding their position as well. So I think we're top 10 in the country in earned run average, top 10 in the country in runs scored. So hopefully we can continue to play well this weekend and punch our ticket to Grand Junction.
All right, let's talk about your opponent for this weekend. Monroe College, no stranger to getting to the Junior College World Series. They're on a mission to go for the 3rd consecutive year. And, Coach, when your teams play other teams here in the Southeast, I would imagine they've got a pretty good idea as to what to expect. But facing a team out of New York, how different are they? How much scouting have you been able to do of their team? And what maybe concerns do you have about that squad?
Yeah, well, first of all, their head coach is a friend of mine, man. He does a tremendous job. He's just a great person and really good coach. And, they're first class all the way, their players and coaches. And they've always had good pitchers, good pitching staff, good start pitching. This year they seem to be swinging the bat a little bit better than they normally do. They've got a guy that got over 60 RBIs, and I think he had 6 home runs in 1 week with the National Player of the Week at some point. So we're going to have to, make sure we keep guys off base before he comes up, and make sure we're making good pitches to him. But we do have some information on him that we got from some other places, and hopefully we can execute the information that we have on him. But we're excited. We're excited. It's a good challenge for us, and just be 2 wins away from getting to the World Series, the college school record to win. Got to be proud of what the guys have accomplished so far, and hopefully we can keep it rolling.
Tell you what, the pitchers better be on their best, because you're coming in with a team batting average like 353, I think it is. They're coming in with a team batting average of 348. So, I mean, both of you can swing the bats, and they've played 26 away games, I guess non-home games, I guess maybe at some neutral sites or whatever. They've been away from home a lot, so traveling down south won't phase them, I'm sure. But a lot of pressure on the pitchers, both sides, because they're going to be facing some real good bats.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully the wind won't be blowing out tomorrow.
Yeah. So the home field for you, like you said, being able to be at home, but just being in your own park, knowing your park, and like you said, the wind doing what it does, whatever. Does Monroe get a chance to practice at all, or are they be coming in fresh to the ballpark?
Yeah. They actually they got in last night, and we set the field up for them. They practiced at 1 o'clock today, and then we practiced after them. And so we were both able to get a good workout in today prior to this series this weekend. So so both teams are eager, and we're able to get some work in prior to the weekend.
You guys letting fans in for this district playoff?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think we charge $5 for ages 10 and up. Under 10 is free, and we're looking to have a good crowd this weekend, and I'm sure they'll be pleased with what they see this weekend. It'll be good baseball between 2 really good college baseball programs.
Well, hold one of those $3 tickets for Chris, because he's coming tomorrow.
Sounds good. Come on over.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to it.
Good luck, man. 44-6. I think maybe you might have the best record in the state. I'm not sure off the top of my head what North Greenville is. They're pretty good too. Would you like a shot? Would you like a shot at playing North Greenville, just for the heck of it?
Well, we actually played them a couple times in the fall in some scrimmages, but yeah, I mean, Landon does a great job up there. They're super talented. They do a good job. Hopefully, they can make a run, at the Division II World Series as well, and represent South Carolina.
Absolutely. Well, good luck, and hopefully, we'll be talking to you again about heading out to Grand Junction, Colorado, and hey, milk the budget there for everything you can get out of them. All right.
Oh, absolutely. I will.
Okay. Thanks very much, Preston. Good talking to you again.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me.
You got it.
Thanks.
Okay, Preston McDonald here on Sports Talk, where we cover everybody. North Greenville, Florence, Darlington Tech, Gamecocks, Tigers, Wofford, Furman. So everybody counts as far as we're concerned, including the Gamecocks, Chris. They count too. They're heading to Kentucky. You were in on the Mark Kingston call yesterday as he previewed things.
And obviously, the biggest news was relatively early in his meeting with the media after summing up what he expects to see out of Kentucky. He laid out the brand new pitching rotation that'll have Brandon Jordan again on Friday. Brett Carey is going to make his first start of the season on Saturday, and then Thomas Farr will pitch again on a Sunday against the Wildcats. But here's a little bit of what Mark Kingston had to say yesterday. Looking forward to this weekend.
They've been a good team this year, and they're battling to get in the NCAA tournament as well. So it should be a very challenging and exciting series.
Couple questions for you. Do you have your pitching rotation set, and what's the status of George Khalil?
Yeah, we'll go Jordan, Carey, and Farr for our weekend rotation. And George is feeling better today. He missed yesterday, obviously being extremely ill, but he is feeling better today, and we're optimistic that he'll be on the bus with us to Kentucky.
Mark, just what went into the decision to put Brett in that starting role, and how do you feel like he's going to do in there?
I think he'll do very well. Obviously, most of the times this year, we've asked him to go extended. He's done very well this past weekend at Vanderbilt, and so we just felt it was time to give him a chance to start the game and see how far he can go.
And obviously, Brett's close in games for you. How comfortable are you with the back end of the bullpen right now? And just if you need someone to close, who might some of those candidates be?
Yeah, we've got a lot of guys we're confident they can get us the last 3 outs, whether it's Bosnick, whether it's Peters, whether it's Lloyd. Obviously, Sanders will go back into that role like he was early in the season, where he was really good. So we're confident in those guys that they can get the job done.
I was actually about to ask about Will Sanders. Do you look at him as the closer? Do you hold him back for another midweek game or another spot start? Just how do you handle him going?
No, he'll be in much the same role he was early in the season. I think he got 2 decisions against Clemson early in the season, getting big outs out of the bullpen. So that's the role you can anticipate seeing him in.
You mentioned wanting to have a confident group heading on that bus. Just do you feel like guys have lost confidence? And if they have, how do you go about building that back up when you have games, 7 games left to play?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a game of failure. So the game is always testing you. The game is always seeing how you're going to bounce back. Just so happens in the SEC, it's done even more because of the level of competition. So it's only human nature that if you struggle to get down a little bit, and we just want to make sure our guys are staying optimistic. They're staying hopeful that the great success is right around the corner. So that's our mindset. We've had so many great moments this year. We expect more in the future, and that's going to be how we approach it.
Hey, Mark, I think you got 29 left on base over the last 2 games. I guess just when you look at that, is that just sometimes how it breaks, or have you noticed some difference in approach that's holding you guys back there?
Yeah, I think it can be a combination of a lot of things. It can be a combination of a couple guys, that might be in a little bit of a funk right now, being the ones that come up in those big situations. It can be pitchers making good pitches. It can be bad luck where you hit the ball well and it's right at somebody. It can be a lot of different things. So you just have to keep working through it. Baseball is it's a long game. You've got to focus on the long game, and you're going to go through times where all the breaks go your way. You're going to go through times when none of the breaks go your way, and you just have to keep going forward, and we'll continue to do that.
Yeah, I know you probably aren't too deep into Kentucky prep since you just played last night, but what stands out to you about them as you've watched them over the course of the year?
Yeah, they play really good defense. Their pitching will really battle and come after you, and they've limited their walks this year as compared to the past. And then offensively, they've got some big, strong guys, but they also can run the bases some. So they're a pretty well-rounded team. And again, we'll have to be prepared for a lot of things.
Brady's struggled a little bit, hasn't gotten as many hits as maybe had in the beginning of the year. Just how do you go about talking to him about it? What have you seen from him that needs to kind of maybe get tweaked or changed as you go into the stretch run?
I actually thought he took some really good at-bats last night. The first ball he hit of the day was crushed, just happened to go right off the pitcher's foot and turned into an out. So some of that has been bad luck, but there's no question he's not quite as hot as he was early in the season. So again, you just need to stay positive with him, keep making sure these guys know you believe in them, and help them wherever you can. Some guys need a lot of help and guidance when they get in trouble. Some guys need to be left alone so they can kind of find it at their own pace. So just have to kind of know our players and know what each guy needs. And Brady's kind of there in the middle. He likes to work on it, kind of find himself, but he likes some input from the coaches as well.
Okay, Mark Kingston, as the Gamecocks are heading down to Kentucky, and this is a pretty even matchup, as I mentioned on paper. 2 teams that are kind of near one another in the SEC at this point. And, one's strength seems to be the other's weakness, and vice versa. USC's 12-12 in league play. Kentucky's 11-13. So just a game separates them. Kentucky's 27-17 overall, and the Gamecocks are 28-18. So just a game separates them from that standpoint as well. So, both need wins in this series to help themselves regarding the postseason. And Kentucky's coming off a series with Florida, which it lost 2 of 3. Before that, they lost 2 of 3 to Tennessee. Before that, they swept Alabama. So, I mean, and Alabama's not very good, so that's not something. No, they did not sweep Alabama. I'm sorry. They took 2 out of 3 from Alabama. Then they had lost to Louisville. They lost 2 out of 3 to Georgia. So they haven't been going all that great, and the Gamecocks haven't been going all that great of late. So you find a couple of teams really searching for something good to happen to it here down the stretch. I mentioned South Carolina's hitting 250 as a team, so their hitting is kind of weak, but Kentucky's hitting 285 as a team, so their hitting is good. The Gamecocks have more power. They've hit 67 homers at Kentucky's 55, but Kentucky 67 of 71 on the bases. So Gamecock catchers, Burgess in particular, going to be tested. Gamecocks are only 25 out of 31. Here's another interesting stat that I noticed going through SEC numbers. The Gamecocks are tied for last in the SEC in pinch hitting. The Gamecocks have only 3 pinch hits this season.
Wow.
This entire season.
That's incredible. That's a great stat. And would Mendham's hit the other day? Would that have been one of them?
Was that a pinch hit?
That's what I'm trying to
The
remember.
homer?
I'd have to go back and look back at the box score. Yeah, I can see that. Yep. Well, I'll try and fill in here, Phil. The other thing I was thinking, it occurred to me too, with the regional announcement set for sometime tomorrow, we understand. Let's assume for a moment South Carolina does not get a regional host site out of the 20. How might that affect them going into this weekend?
You mean mentally speaking?
Yes.
Yeah. I think you just flush it. I think players are like, hey, we can go anywhere and win. And sometimes it's good to get away from home. You're not going to have, unless South Carolina is going to let everybody in. Because oftentimes, in those regional settings, the charged crowd, that energy really helps the home team, especially when you got that last at bat and say you need a run to tie or you need to break a tie. And that energy in the crowd really helps you, and it affects the opposing team. Now, you can have energy. I'm not saying 3,000 people or so can't create the energy, but it's not like it normally is, obviously, when you've got 8,000 plus jammed in there making all that noise. So, but I think if they find out that they're not going to be in the mix, you may be right. I still don't know why they wouldn't be in among the 20 that would be in the group because of their overall RPI. If it's going to come out before tomorrow's game, which it sounds like it is, I don't understand why they wouldn't be in the top 20 among the 20 to be considered,
I will be surprised, quite frankly. I will be surprised if they're one of the 20, but I guess that we'll find out tomorrow. And by the way, David Mendham's doubled that won the game against Mississippi State. He was already in the lineup, so that was not one of the ones that I was referencing. He was the DH. Actually had a pretty good game. 2 of 5 with 3 RBIs. So
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think it could. It's very possible, though, if they do not get selected and realize they don't have a chance to host a regional, it could affect them tomorrow night.
The other thing I was going to say, though, talking about the strengths and weaknesses, Kentucky and South Carolina. So on the flip side, the Gamecocks are overall, I'll go back here for a second. Overall in pitching, the Gamecocks are 5th in the league in team ERA, and Kentucky's 11th. Gamecocks at 3.85, Kentucky at 4.57. So, you figure the Gamecocks are going to pitch it a little bit better than Kentucky, but sure. Kentucky's going to hit it, and they're going to get the extra base. They're going to turn singles into doubles because they're going to go steal bases on you. It looks like so. That's what South Carolina is going to be facing this weekend. Be a tough test for them at Kentucky. Usually is. Kentucky's usually a pretty good team. So, Gamecocks haven't fielded it all that well this year either. They're down towards the bottom of the pack in the SEC. But here's the thing that really jumps out at you, Chris. In SEC play, the Gamecocks are dead last in hitting at 217 in SEC play. Missouri is the next team above them at 219, but then the separation is what's eye-popping. LSU would be the next lowest team at 250. So the gap between number 12, LSU at 250, and then South Carolina at 14, 217. That's huge. Kentucky in league play is batting 264. The Gamecocks have hit 30 home runs in league play. That's not too bad. Kentucky's hit 31. So hitting that fine pitching. And the Gamecocks in league play, they're 9 for 9 in stolen bases. But Kentucky is 37 out of 40. So you get the idea of what they're facing this weekend.
It's just not USC's makeup to try and steal bases. They're more wait around for the 3-run home run, and obviously against quality SEC pitching, that has not worked. And I think, to cut the offense a little bit of slack, nobody has faced the schedule and the gauntlet in terms of pitching that South Carolina has in the SEC. So I think some of those numbers, Phil, albeit they have struggled offensively, I think they're somewhat skewed because of whom they faced.
Well, they've already faced Ole Miss, Vandy, Florida, and Georgia, and they've got 4 of the top 5 staffs ERA in the league, and they still will play Tennessee next weekend. Okay, guys, enjoyed it. I'm going to go listen to some Travis Tritt on the way home. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
The only afternoon local talk radio in Columbia is the Afternoon Drive with Kev. It's all about you. It's your phone calls. It's my challenging topics. All the news, traffic, and weather weekdays, 4 p.m. on The Point.
Press that button, home stew. WQXL Columbia, W264DF.